reading a book for money. To give you some idea on how topsy-turvy Mr. Topsy-Turvy was, you ought to see his house. The front door is upside down to start with, and the curtains hang upside down out the windows. And just look at the chimney pot. All very extraordinary. Inside is the same. Just look at the clocks thing on Mr. Topsy-Turvy's mantelpiece. Isn't that the topsiest-turviest clock you've ever seen? And look at the way Mr. Topsy-Turvy reads a book. Not only does he read it upside down, but he starts to read it at the back page. And just look where Mr. Topsy-Turvy puts a stamp when he sends a letter to somebody. Have you ever seen anything like that? Now this story is all about time Mr. Topsy-Turvy came to town where you and I live. Nobody is quite sure how Mr. Topsy-Turvy got there, where he came from, but he did arrive because somebody saw him getting off the train. The trouble was, he did it in a topsy-turvy way and got out the wrong side and fell on the railway line, which really isn't all that surprising, is it? When he picked himself up and managed to find his way out of the station, Mr. Topsy-Turvy went to a hotel to find a room to spend the night. The hotel manager tried not to smile when he saw Mr. Topsy walk in his hotel carrying a suitcase held upside down, his topsy-turvy hat on his head. Good afternoon, sir. He said, "Can I help you?" Now, something you didn't know about Mr. Topsy-Turvy is the way he speaks. You see, he sometimes gets things the wrong way around. "Afternoon, good," said Mr. Topsy-Turvy to the hotel manager, "I'd room alike." The manager scratched his head. "You mean you would like a room?" he asked. "Please, yes," replied Mr. Topsy-Turvy. Eventually, the hotel managed to work out what Mr. Topsy-Turvy was talking about, and he was taken up in the lift to a bedroom. And then Mr. Topsy-Turvy unpacked his suitcase, put on his pajamas, and went to bed. Then Mr. Topsy-Turvy unpacked his suitcase, put on his pajamas, and went to... I said that. Fuck. He was rather tried after travelling from wherever he came from. The following day, Mr. Topsy-Turvy went round town. But when a fuss is going round the town caused, the taxi driver tried to tell him where he wanted to go. The poor man drove straight into a traffic light. "Oh dear," said Mr. Topsy-Turvy. "I am sorry very." And he went into a big department store in the middle of town. He walked up to one of the countries counters. "I like a sock of pads," he said to the lady behind the counter. "Yeah. You mean a pair of socks?" She smiled and showed him a pair of bright red socks. Mr. Topsy-Turvy put them in on his hands. Then he tried to leave, but being Mr. Topsy-Turvy, he tried to walk down the up escalator, and all the people going up the escalator all fell over themselves. It was a terrible topsy-turvy jumble. That day, Mr. Topsy-Turvy did all sorts of topsy-turvy things. He walked backwards across the street crossing and caused an enormous traffic jam. He went to a library and put all the books upside down on the shelves and made everybody extremely cross. And when he went to an art gallery and insisted on hanging all the pictures upside down so that he could look at them properly. And then Mr. Topsy-Turvy had been in the town for just one day. He disappeared. Nobody knew where he went or where he went, but he certainly went because he wasn't there anymore. The whole town breathed a sigh of relief. But when the town scared, even though Mr. Topsy-Turvy had left, everything was still topsy-turvy. Read all it about, shouted the newspaper stars instead of shouting. Read all about it. News is to hear, said the television newsreader, instead of saying here is the news. Morning good, people started saying to each other when they met. Do you know how? Do you how? Instead of how do you do? Everybody was talking topsy-turvy. What the fuck is that sound? Can you think of something to say that topsy-turvy? Can you think of something to say that's topsy-turvy? Go on, try. Best book ever, mate. Mr. Topsy-Turvy, 10 out of 10.